You might not like it, but Robby is the peak form of masculinity.
That's why people make fun of us. Like, oh, nice minivan, because they hate us because they ain't us. You know. Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey, so you don't have to, but you probably should. You probably are, and that's why we like you. On this week's episode, we are drinking something I hear is fancy, something that is a hot thing right now. We're drinking some Maker's Mark Cellar Aged. And believe it or not, I know nothing about this whiskey. So make sure you stick around for the history portion. But before we get to the history portion, we got to get to the shoot the breeze portion. Before we get to the shoot the breeze portion, we got to do the business portion. Hit us up on Instagram. We'd love to talk to you.
And like our videos on YouTube.
Like the videos. Comment.
Yeah. If you're into us, like the videos.
Subscribe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway, that's that. Appreciate you guys. Yeah. Appreciate all the support we do get. You know, we're out here pandering, but we already got great support. Love you guys.
We do.
Cole, speaking of love you, man. Yeah. How you doing?
Love you too. I am a little sick. You can kind of hear the congestedness, but luckily I can smell mostly and taste whiskey. I'm entry buzzing on Buffalo Trace kosher wheat recipe. Not too bad, not too shabby. Nice. Definitely not Weller status, but a weighted bourbon. Hey, that's what we're drinking today.
Now I know something.
Why I poured it. But yeah, life is good actually. There's been some fun things happening this week. We are recording on a holiday weekend. This will come out on Labor Day.
Labor Day!
Yeah, it's actually been really encouraging week, especially regarding whiskey. And I'll get into that in a little bit. Before I get to like the history, I have some notes written down, so I don't want to like go too far into them already. But otherwise, yeah, it's a pretty chill weekend for us. It's Labor Day weekend, as I mentioned. And,
Labor Day.
But I got no plans. I'm just chilling. So I don't know about you guys. Do you guys have any plans this weekend?
A little bit. Chelsea's sister is back in town, so we're gonna do. And it's supposed to possibly rain today, and it's supposed to be rainy tomorrow and Monday. So I think tonight we're gonna go over to the house and barbecue. And nice. I was really hoping. I was like, I don't want to pay for ribs, but I sure would love to smoke some. Nobody picked up the clues I was dropping, so we're just gonna do some burgers and stuff. Yeah,
ribs aren't that expensive. Just grab them.
What? I didn't say they were that expensive, Cole. I said I didn't want to buy them. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. It's a principle. It's all about the principle.
It's like a fear. It's like a ribobiophobia. Yeah. It's not a price thing. It's really about the principle of it. So
yeah. No, I mean it's one of those things where it's like I'll do a lot of the cooking. You do a lot of the buying, because then they want to do French fries too, and I was like, that's like
you do good French fries.
That's like a good 6 hours solid of getting stuff done.
Totally.
So
I can dig that stuff though. When like people are coming over, I love entertaining. It's actually surprisingly.
If you love entertaining so much, you should start a podcast and entertain people weekly.
Hey. That's what I've been doing for 5 years now. Entertaining our fans, not our listeners, our fans. Yeah. But no, I love like if we're bored on a Saturday, I'll be like, Heather, you want to invite your parents over and we'll just treat them to dinner, like cook them dinner and stuff like that. Because I really enjoy
the fact that her parents are only worth being around if you're bored. I gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's one thing that's kind of in my mind, but it's not. I'll probably share it next week. It's kind of sensitive to someone in my life, but I'll probably tell you after the episode, Robby. But that being said,
I'll make sure not to put it on the podcast this week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So you gotta make sure you're not recording during that part and just put it as the intro.
Or just or do the thing where I left it. I had this thing way far over that I couldn't see on my screen, and like the episode was 2 hours long. Yeah,
you need to double check those times. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, school started. Beck's doing well. Like I said, I got more news, but I'll share it right before the history as the some notes to get to section.
Okay.
How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
You're sick. I am coming
Oh,
off the tail end. Like I'm not like just an annoying cold where I wake up in the
yeah.
morning. I don't feel like P Diddy.
Yeah.
I have to take some
Hey, yo, what
out of a
up,
cold
girl?
sinus for me to
Uh-huh.
rule this city.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, it's just like one
TikTok
of
goes the clock, and
don't stop.
party don't stop. Oh, but it does stop when you're sick.
It does. No, and the thing is like, and the school year's been so busy, man. Like so last night, I had to run like Amara went to a football game, and like it's the people that took her live over by my school. So I was like, well, I'll just go to my school for a little bit and get some stuff done.
Nice.
And wait when I'm waiting for a call, and then didn't get much done. But I was just walking to my school and it was quiet. I'm like, man, I really love my students this year. They are
That's great.
running me ragged, but they are the
Uh-huh.
cutest, most fun kids like as a group that I may have ever had.
Yeah.
Like they're just
And you've been at it for a while.
yeah. I think this is my 19th year, 18th year, something like that.
Wow. That's crazy, man.
But I was in the hallway. I'm like, it's just too quiet without him. Like, I don't get it. I've yet to have a lunch and a prep all for the last 3 weeks because it's
Yeah.
just busy doing stuff. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
you
man.
said, yeah.
But I was like, that's a good sign. When I get to the school, I'm like, I miss the kids. Like, I miss those
Yeah,
students. So
that is a
it's
good
been
sign.
busy. Nebraska played on Thursday and lost. That was sad. But I'm still wearing my Nebraska stuff today because it's like the first day of college football, like legitimately,
Gotcha.
like everyone's. So I was like, yeah, I got to let people know. And if
You
someone
know
else
what the
sees me in
N
my
stands
Husker
for?
gear, knowledge.
Non-chill filtered.
Hey, that's not the name of the podcast.
But anyway.
So yeah. Anyway, and then went to had the girls' soccer game this morning, so got them out there. And Chelsea's working this weekend, so it kind of made things a little tricky. But I was like, and I'm pulling out in the minivan. It was my turn to be team dad, and we brought the snacks in. I'm like pulling out in the minivan. I'm like carrying all this stuff. I'm like, man, I'm full on soccer dad right now. Like the van is the soccer dad van now. I'm like, dude, I'm living life. Like there's a pinnacle in life, and that is soccer van dad.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you're not there, you ain't nothing, man.
Have you seen that meme that's like, you might not like it, but this is what the peak form of masculinity looks like, or something along those lines? That's basically what it is for you. It's like, you might not like it, but Robbie is the peak form of masculinity.
That's why people make fun of us. Like, oh, nice minivan, because they hate us because they ain't us, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Yeah,
that was a different way to say it. They are anuses.
Yeah, exactly.
Anusi.
That's
pardonnez-moi. They anusi.
Ani.
What is the plural of anus?
I imagine anuses.
Anuses.
Yeah.
Somebody write us.
Yeah, help us out.
We got to
reach out and touch us.
Reach out and touch us on anuses.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we should probably put that on a story. What's the plural of anus? I'm sure it'll get
we should do that. And then we'll get dropped by a few family-friendly listeners.
Well,
so funny thing as I
scrolling through social media with your children anyway. Like it's not good for anybody, let alone your kids.
We're not family.
And you know what? If you drop us because you're scrolling through and your kid sees anus on our social media, like you're the kind of listener we don't want. Like get out of here. That's bad parenting. Leave.
I have a feeling Miles Ferguson would get.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you in your anus.
For some reason, I just think Miles Ferguson with this turtleneck is like. I love the guy.
He slowly pulls the turtleneck over his ears.
Oh, we love you, Miles.
And then Patricia's in the other room. Miles, are they talking dirty about anuses again?
How'd you get Patricia's voice so perfect?
I don't know.
Oh, that's great. So I look behind me and I see my whiskey shelf. And do you see that it's bowing?
Yeah, it's been doing that for a while.
It really has. I need to just get a plank.
That to you before too, but like that's the thing is like, you better get some plywood under that or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Yeah, you don't want that crashing.
No. There's some beautiful bottles up there.
If that goes crashing into thee, you won't be under the table and dreaming. You'll be weeping. It'll be a nightmare. You know what you need to do, Cole? You know what you need to do? You need to hike up that table a little more and show the world to me.
Show the world to me. I love 90s references.
Before the table crash.
You know, he's from Virginia, or at least like from his, because he's from like South Africa or something like that.
Yeah, he's South African.
But in America, he's from Charlottesville,
He-
Virginia.
He in America.
He in America, coming to America.
The fiddle player is a Sigma Nu. And when I was in college, Dave was big and everybody was like, guys, a Sigma Nu like us.
Nice.
Like, yeah, you like us.
So what's a Sigma Nu? Like, what did you guys represent?
What's a Sigma Nu? Sigma didn't knew nothing.
That's true.
We partied
And
hard,
Sigma,
bro.
Yeah, that's what the N stands for.
What do you mean, what's a
Newledge?
Sigma Nu? What do you mean, what's a Sigma Nu?
I don't know, like these fraternities, don't they like stand for something? Like, aren't they just like more than just a party group?
Yes, we believe in the life of love.
Oh, that's deep.
We walk in the way of honor. We serve in the light of truth. This is the light, the way, the something of our fraternity, the creed of our fraternity. I can't remember it now.
No, you're good. You got far enough. Have you ever heard the joke, like the fake fraternity name? And it just makes me laugh every time. Guy tap a thigh.
Lambda,
I shouldn't laugh so
and
much, but I do.
Omega Mu. Those are the funniest fraternities and sororities I know.
What was the ones you mentioned?
Lambda, and Omega Mu.
Omega Mu.
Do you know what that's from?
No.
Because you're a nerd. It's from the Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh, it's so good. No, I've never seen that movie. Is it good? Is that a John Hughes joint?
No, it's not. It's aged horribly.
Oh, nice.
But I think it was never even. It was like kind of like Porky's. It's like a Porky's kind of thing.
Okay.
Where it's like just out there to be out there and nothing that great, but surprisingly got some legs behind it.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's funny. What's like an old movie that you love that is just not, it's not that it hasn't aged well, but it's like you wonder why it had a minor cult following, but you were in that cult following? I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
UHF.
I was going to say, but here's the thing. I know why it had a cult following because it's friggin' awesome.
Yeah, it is a great movie. No.
I love UHF.
Yeah. He's like, well, you get to drink from the fire hose.
Okay. You want to see my mop?
And that was right before Seinfeld, I think. That was like,
I don't know. I want to say because that movie came out in like
90 or 89.
No, it was like 88, 89, something like that.
I think it was 89.
Yeah.
Let's find this out right now. But quality. When did Seinfeld start?
Seinfeld was probably like 92?
89. Yeah,
was
so
it 80?
It was right before. Yeah.
When Seinfeld start?
Seinfeld.
I'm gonna say 92.
I'm gonna say 91.
Okay.
No, it was 89 as well. And here's
89 as well.
Why I know that actually.
You didn't know that because you said 91.
Well, yeah, you're right. But here's why I remember that now. Because Jason Alexander got a Tony Award, I believe, that year. Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah. Did we never talk about this before?
I'm sure we've mentioned it, but
he won like the best actor basically for like the Tony equivalent. Yeah, it was. Let's see. Oh yeah, it was 1989. Yeah, he won the lead actor for a musical for a Tony Award, which is like somewhat huge. Surprises me, but also doesn't surprise me at all for Jason Alexander.
So the thing is, like, it surprises me for George Costanza, but when you watch interviews with Jason Alexander, you're like, oh yeah, I could see that. I could see that guy in a musical.
Totally. And the funny thing is like you got to give him mad props because he nailed George Costanza, and it's not like typecast. From what I see of who Jason Alexander is, that is not typecast. Like he is truly acting very well for that.
That's true.
Yeah. So anyway, what do you say? Anything else you want to talk about before?
Well, I've been having so much fun, but I guess you're gonna put the end to it. So
no, we can keep talking.
No, I'll find ways to interrupt you with something that has nothing to do with
break into digressions, and
people
will be like, "Wow, so many digressions! Wow, so inaccurate! Wow, they're too sensitive. Why don't they stop talking about deep things and being real about their lives?"
Like this is deep. This is
super deep. Yeah.
No, we do.
Well, at least it's real.
It is real.
Sincere.
No funk faking.
No funk faking here. So with that, now that I've mentioned the words funk faking, I think it's time to send it to a quick break.
Hey, Cole,
Yeah, what's up?
you know how my butt feels right now?
Yeah, I pretty much do. I've had hemorrhoids since I was 18 years old.
You have hemorrhoids too?
Yep.
I'm in excruciating pain. How are
Tell me
you
about this
feeling so
pain.
good?
Well, I'll tell you why, Robbie, because I use Preparation H, and
Okay.
that's the hemorrhoid cream that you're going to want.
You're telling me I could be feeling better in 8 to 12 hours?
8 to 12 hours? No. Preparation H is known to cool on touch.
Can't wait. How many anus assesses has Preparation H touched?
I'll tell you this, that anuses have touched 20 million Americans, let alone the world to beyond. So you're going to want to check us out at preparationh.com/chillfiltered. And we're back. What a
Oh, my
nice
anus
break.
itches.
What a nice. We're gonna have to do a live read after the episode, and a good one too. We'll do it on like Preparation H
powder?
or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
What's that?
Talcum powder, Preparation H.
Yeah, exactly. So, few shout outs this week. Basically,
going with it.
2 people and 6 shout outs.
Did you hit
here we go.
your spring?
Oh yeah, I think I did. Do you hear it? That's funny. Yeah, sorry, listeners. Like I said, a few shout outs, but mostly to one baller in particular. And that guy is Brian Rapp. So let's break it down real quick. 5 things total this week. 1, for being crucial to me in finding a bottle of Eagle Rare 17 vintage 2014. Are you kidding me?
I didn't realize you guys have been messaging so much. I didn't realize you got it.
It finally happened. So
Nice!
I performed a few trades of whiskey. I'm not big into buying on the secondary, but I am okay with trading on the secondary. And we worked it out. Me and Brian, we figured it out to be able to achieve my favorite brand and my favorite style bottle. And basically, okay, so I'll break it down why I got 2014. So you remember not my podcast. You do remember my podcast. But you remember my blog. I wrote a blog, and it's still actually on the internet. I still pay like yearly fees for this, John. But anyway, I should probably take it down one of these days. But it was called whiskeygoals.com. And so basically, I wrote this blog as a scrapbooking of my journey to find a bottle of Eagle Rare. And that was in 2015 when I started doing
Eagle Rare 17.
Yes, that's correct.
Not just Eagle Rare.
And that was
the shortest blog ever, because back then you could find Eagle Rare.
No. Oh, you can find Eagle Rare. Yeah, that's correct. A bottle of Eagle Rare 17.
I'm joking with you.
No, I get it now. But the reason I got 2014 was because I have an empty bottle behind me of the 2015, because the reason I wanted a 2015 was because I tried it at a bar from the vintage prior. And so I was like, and I looked at it. I mean, I tasted it at a bar, and I was like, my mind has exploded, and I am ready to pursue a life of whiskey after this. So that's why I got the bottle of 2014, because that was the first bottle I ever tried that blew my friggin' mind. And so, yeah, that's why I got it. And I'll be on my shelf for a little bit for sure. I will crack it for a reason one day. But I am honored to be able to hold that bottle in my hand. And who can say they have a 9-year-old bottle of like a 9-year-old vintage of Eagle Rare 17? You can, brother. I can. So thank you to Brian for that, for helping me. He basically brokered for me to be able to trade. So he also, number 2, he also tipped us off to a whiskey company. And the other shout out is to Ben Klepsig, who also tipped us off to this company. The company is called, well, you know what? I won't mention the company. You'll see in a few weeks who the company is.
For those of you keeping score at home, Brian
tipped us off to a
crucial tipper offer.
Tipper
He's not
offer.
the only tipper offer. Ben Klepsik comes in at 1 point as well with tipper offer.
Exactly. So the score is 2-1.
2-1.
Brian Rapp to Ben
Brian
this
Rapp.
week. So yeah, basically we're going to be featuring a very fancy whiskey coming up in the next few weeks. And Brian and Ben tipped us off. So thank you, both of you. And then the third, the real strong lead goes back to Brian Rapp, who thirdly sending us a 5-bottle package via courier recently of samples. And we appreciate that. And then fourth, for providing the sample we're drinking today, which is actually like Robbie mentioned, it is in the now. It is hot right now. And
for those keeping track at home, that is Cole's second time
exactly wiping his nose. And then last but not least,
I'm sorry I laughed. It's not funny.
All right, get this. All right, so fifthly, Brian Rapp, for last but not least, setting up the Chill Filter Discord group, which we will be sending out details to our Patreon members hopefully this week. It's actually really cool. I've been testing it with Brian, and we've been having a lot of fun.
Cool. Glad you guys are having fun without me.
We're gonna get you on it. You're gonna love it, Robbie. And there's no saying no to this. But our Patreon listeners will be able to.
Can I say maybe?
Too. What's that?
Can I say maybe?
No. Only yes. So one last double ding to our baller, Brian Rapp. Thank you so much, Brian, for
I got a double ding to the balls earlier today.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay.
It was a testicle.
Wait,
joke.
what did you say?
I got a double ding to the baller earlier today.
Oh, with the kids?
No, I didn't. It was just a testicle joke.
Oh yeah. Testing.
I thought you were gonna go nuts over it.
Yeah.
But you didn't. I'm gonna sack that one.
Yeah. See, you're so good at puns, man. You've been a dad for like 13 years now. So
yeah, I'm a soccer dad.
Yeah, exactly. That's what really brings it in. The minivan makes you just think about puns all day, connecting jokes.
You're done worrying about like being perceived as ultra masculine, so you just start.
Yeah, you really don't even need to work on your body anymore, or getting girls anymore. You already got one, and you got 3 daughters. So
got too many girls.
Too many girls. Hey, that's the life I live now too. But I have one less girl than you do.
So this week I got the whiskeys from Brian Rapp. I also got your birth announcement for your daughter.
And really?
Yeah.
Oh.
The card. You said a card with all your family on it with the baby.
Oh yeah, that daughter. For some reason I was thinking of that. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. Go on,
anyway,
Robbie.
Davey Havoc is so mad at you.
Where's that?
Because he was like, girl's not gray. But guess what?
Oh, she's gray.
There's a girl named Gray.
AFI reference for those who don't understand. Bryce Marita got that one.
Bryce Marita?
Did you meet him at a concert or something like that?
Davey Havoc? No. I had a friend who saw him at a concert, and he was making out with the guitar player from the band. And I thought...
Who, Davey Havoc was?
Yeah.
Good for him. Probably broke up later.
I didn't... no, he's still together. I mean, Jade Puget's still with him.
So I wanna shout out, now that you mentioned that, I want to shout out a podcast before we get into the history. So I listened to this. Okay, so someone recommended a podcast to me called Bandsplain. Which is actually a pretty cool idea. It's basically like these people like are very educated on certain bands, and it's almost like stuff you should know for like bands. But also very different people that are very into horoscopes. But beyond that, which always bothers me, and not that there's anything wrong with people that like horoscopes.
You could be into it.
You could be into it, I guess. Anyway, they did a episode on No Doubt. And I learned so much about No Doubt through that episode.
And if you're not watching on YouTube, Cole, when he said, I learned so much, had the biggest poo-eating grin on his face.
Yeah, I love No Doubt. And but anyway, they talked about at one point in the band, or at one point in the history of the band, was that Tony Kanal and Gwen were dating.
And like that, everyone else in the band hated it because they're like, hey, if you guys break up, there goes the whole band. But when they broke up, they stayed together for the kids. That's a Blink 182 reference. Who didn't stay together? So anyway, for the kids. Anyway, back to
similar vein.
Uh-huh.
YouTube wise, punk rock MDA. Can't remember MBA because that's anyway. He does a
Management.
lot on the business thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, he does a lot of stuff like that too on punk rock bands, and I love it.
On YouTube.
Punk rock.
I love
MBA.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. So check them out. Those are some creators you can patronize, but not in a bad way. Anyway, here goes number 3, nose wipe. Anyway, here goes.
I wasn't looking. Thanks for calling it out.
Yeah, I'm here to help. Here to give scores. Maker's Mark. Cellar Age.
Gosh, I forgot we're a whiskey podcast. Yes,
yeah,
Maker's
Mark
Mark
podcast. Maker's Mark Cellar Cast. This definitely isn't our first Maker's Mark product on the podcast. Earlier on, we drank Maker's 46 first for episode 131. For episode 144, not too long after, we drank Maker's Standard. And for episode 231, we drank Maker's 101. So we've talked about things like, Bill Samuels and the paper recipe of wheated bourbon and how he baked bread to determine the mash bill and all that. But we'll get into today we'll get into some things today, especially like Maker's Mark facts, but we'll also get into why this release today is super special for the distillery. And so anyway, let's get into some fun facts from Maker's Mark. First off, we've talked about Bill Samuels before. He's the guy who started the company, and I believe it was 1953. Don't quote me on that because I didn't write it down. He put together a recipe, and he basically bought out the Burke's Distillery to build on in Loretto, Kentucky. But his wife is what I'm going to mention here. She was a fun one. Very active in the company from the beginning. And you may remember she was behind the marketing move of adding red wax to the top of the bottle, and a very signature move from Makers. But she has had a big hand in determining the wheated mash bill. Margie Samuels was quoted to have said about rye bourbons on the market. She says, "That bleep will blow your ears off." She thought that the wheated recipe was what it took to provide a softer, more approachable bourbon. And I'd agree in general. Wheated bourbon is more soft on the palate than a rye bourbon. But I wouldn't say rye bourbon will rock you so much more. Anyway, but that's what Margie thought, and that's what Margie got. But Margie had a big impact on Maker's Mark. And in 2014, I believe, what do they call it? Posthumously. I don't know if she was still alive at this point, but I doubt it. She was inducted into the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame. So congrats, Margie. You deserve it. Yeah, she's like one of the like women of Kentucky bourbon. When you look at like the history, like not these days, not current or modern, she was definitely one of the notable women in the whiskey world, especially bourbon. Another fun fact is that they call it whiskey without an E, which is a very counterculture move for American whiskey. Even Del Bach, which is a single malt and which is based off of like kind of the Scotch feel, and Scotch goes without an E. Even whiskey Del Bach has an E in it. But remember how Bill Samuels had a paper recipe that burned up? Do you remember that at all? Basically, he like put together a new recipe because he had this family recipe that was on paper, and somehow it got burnt and like charred up, and he couldn't get the family recipe. Anyway, he was planning on using that mash bill and recipe to make his bourbon, but since it got burned, he had to experiment for a little. Well, the story is that Bill Samuels is like basically like great, who knows how many times, grandfather, basically the first of 8 generations, lived in the Kentucky area before it was even called Kentucky. And in the like 1780s, and his family was from basically the Scotland and Ireland area. And if it's the Scotch, we call it whiskey without an E. So they took the E out in honor of the Samuels family tradition. Another fun fact about Maker's Mark Distillery is that they rotate the barrels much more than usual distilleries do. And that directly goes after the idea of consistency in the product. And if you keep 2 barrels in 2 completely different places in the distillery, they're actually going to be slightly different in flavor. But if you move them around and keep like swapping them out and changing it, the number 4 wipe, it keeps consistency a lot more because you just spend a little time here, spend a little time there. And the distillers behind makers have pretty much always avoided an age statement. They basically are like, they're like, the big quote there from Maker's Mark is, "We'll bottle it when it's ready." And usually Maker's Mark standard is about 6 years, they say, usually. But it might be a little less, it might be a little more, but they don't put an age statement on anything until now. So, but today, like I said, to avoid that consistency, they put out something that is almost twice as old as what we're used to at Makers. So let's get into that. Maker's Mark Cellar aged. This is huge because like I feel like there's a bunch of people like Fred Minnick or even Matt Porter have said like Maker's Mark is cool, but it's kind of boring. Like they need to branch out. They need to put an age statement on, and they heard it, and they heard it years ago because they have a 11 to 12-year-old Maker's distillate that they have just bottled, and it's pretty cool. So first, apparently it ages just like standard Makers in traditional Makers rick houses, and then they took some of these barrels and they continued to age it in a temperature-controlled limestone cellar. This they say takes away the harshness that they claim that you can sometimes get from a older bourbon, and leaves a more complex flavor. So I think if I were to guess, Makers took some of their barrels and just literally aged them for 10 to 12 years and said, hey, it's too harsh or something like that. So they're like, well, what we'll do
It's like those
is
darn
we'll
ryes
switch it to the cellar.
Ugh.
Yeah. So anyway, I forgot to write down the mash bill, but it is wheated bourbon. So it's mostly corn, and then the remainder is mostly wheat, and then there's malted barley. And cask strength, which is awesome because like the best Makers, in my opinion, are the cask strength varieties.
Agreed.
At 115.7 proof. So that's 57.85% alcohol. Most definitely a limited edition. This is the 2023 release. So I'd say expect more in the future and potentially more ages in the future. Very cool looking bottle if you get a look at it. It looks like Rob Samuel's signature on it. I imagine it is. So Rob Samuels is kind of the owner, I believe, or like the head, even though it's owned by, I believe, it's owned by Beam Suntory. But Rob Samuels, I don't believe he's the master distiller, but he puts his name on a lot of stuff. And yeah, so good looking bottle. And then one more huge thank you to Brian Ratt for providing the sample, and quickly at that. So retail price is $150. I have a feeling it will go higher on the secondary. So what do you say we pour this wheated bourbon into our mouths, but first into the glass?
Ooh.
So
Robbie,
I talked to John Hughes on this a little bit, and John actually got a little sample before it even became a thing. And John was like, and I was like, John, like, be real with me. Is it worth the difference? Is it like what we've all been trying to get? Is it what we've all been asking for? And he says yes. So we shall see.
Nose wise, I get cherry, but like in a medicinal way, like a medicinal. And then I wonder if it's just because of the heat on it, but it's like cherry, fake cherry lozenge.
Yeah, it's very pleasant nose to me.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely got some heat on it too. Like it's pretty vapory.
I'm not getting too much vapors, but it might be because of my clogged nose. Luckily, my taste buds are there, but my nose is like half there right now. But I am still getting a very pleasant nose. Cherries are a great note. I think it's not too oaky. It's sweet.
It's got like a Werther's original toffee kind of sweetness.
Yeah, I can get behind that. Yeah.
You have to. You don't know what you're smelling. Like you have to agree with me. Mm-hmm. It also smells like tepid garbage. Oh yeah, Robbie, I see what you're saying. Yeah, cool. Can't smell.
Okay. So just took a sip, and I feel like I'm gonna have to. Sadly, I thought my palate was here, but it tastes good stuff. But I feel like I'm not like 100%. So don't rely completely on my review here. If you're hoping to buy yourself a bottle based on this, so at first it's like really sweet, like sharply sweet with a little bit of oak to it, but then it changes, and you can tell for like a moment that it's Maker's Juice. But then it like kind of fades out to this nice cherry-ish, oaky finish to me. That's about all I got, but I'm gonna go for another sip and see if I can go on past that.
Not super sweet for me. I get like on the verge of like this is almost gonna go bitter, but doesn't. It's pretty hot. It's like hard to get anything right off the bat. Then like the middle of the palate, it definitely kind of mellows, and you can tell you're drinking a wheated whiskey, but you get a very subtle, mild, peanutty kind of note in the middle there, and it just kind of stays on the finish. And I think the sweetness to me is like it would be a Wish.com knockoff Werther's original toffee. Like it's not like super sweet. 7.
Sorry, everyone. Should have muted myself.
But it's good. I mean, it's good. I like it. I mean, compared to like just regular Makers, I'd go for it. I wonder though, day. Like if there are things like it's ready when it's ready, right?
Yeah.
And it's like this took 10 years. Like how pissed off are they?
11 to 12 years. Yeah.
11 to 12 years, and like they go, all right, it's about that time.
Yeah.
Back to the rickhouse with this barrel. And then finally, like year 11, like we're gonna throw this away. Like if it's not good now, and like, oh huzzah! Finally, this was the worst barrel we've ever done. Yeah. It's a special worst barrel now.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious what they're gonna do in the future. If they're just gonna keep up the 11 to 12 year, I doubt they will. I think this is kind of gonna be like a Parker's Heritage, of the weeded variety. Like, hey, this one had a finish in this after 14 years or something like that.
Did you go to water yet? Are you on water?
I am smelling on water just now. Yep.
Okay.
I think it's improved a little bit on the nose. Good, just bourbon-y smell. I wouldn't say I smell weeded bourbon. It almost smells like a rye bourbon to me.
Okay, see, I am totally weeded. Like this is weeded for sure. It's nice.
Trust Robby, not me, everyone. Yeah.
And that mild toffee from is still there. Cherry is not as forward. So I like the nose a little bit better, I think, with the water.
Yo, I like the palate a lot more with the water. Just a few drops did it really good. Sweetness, like a mellow, chewy caramel sweetness showed up a lot more on the palate for this one, as opposed to before it was a little sharp, potentially like you were saying, like almost on the edge of a bite or on the edge of bitter. I love this with a few drops of water.
Just a couple drops. Mm-hmm. It is definitely mellower. It's water was the router bit that took off the edge, right? It's nice and rounded now, and
it's good.
It's that mild nuttiness is there. It's nice, like mouthfeel is nice and warm for an extended period of time on the front end. I think this is a little oaky, but in a good way. Like it definitely has a good amount of oak to it.
Yeah, I agree.
It's good. I like this. No, this is really good.
I'll say this: best Makers I've ever had, for sure. And I can get behind Makers. I've said this before. Makers is a decent mid to low shelf option for me. I prefer it to like Woodford for sure. I've said that many times. I wish this were more available. I wish there was like how Buffalo Trace has Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare. They used to be like reasonable and easier to get, but I wish Makers had just a 10-year standard that was like somewhat easy to get, because this would be amazing. 150, I would buy it, but more so because of the rarity than the palate. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think this is worth 150. Besides the cool factor of like, hey, you got a bottle of the Cellar age. It's going to be pretty rare to get.
And like you said, it's a good looking bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And my shelf is all about vanity. Your bottle sucks. You
Look
can
at
go
that.
home.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think especially for 150,
It's good.
I don't. It's not blowing my mind good though. Like it is good, but I feel like I would want a little more out of it. I think this is more of like if you are a big fan of makers, like this is
Yeah.
probably one you want to have on
Oh,
your shelf. 'Cause
yes,
I know
absolutely.
there's a lot of folks who are like that's their jam, and
Mhm.
it is. I like makers. I would
Yeah.
rather honestly just have a bottle of their standard because it's going to cost
Yeah, you
less
think?
and it's still
Oh,
good
for the price, for the value.
for the price. Yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah,
I might get their
yeah.
cash strength. Get behind that.
But this, I do like this. It's interesting. I think I'm interested. I'm going to look for a good cube here and see what I'm interested to see what
So I think I
ice
think I
does to this
read
John.
recently as I was doing the research for this that typically
Are the whole?
makers will do a entry proof or a barrel proof. I'm sorry, a barrel entry proof of 115, which is a little low. Like for example, Eagle Rare is 125. Um, most companies will go a little higher than that. But the interesting. Oh, nice glass. Did you find them, or is that still the one you have?
That's still the one. But this the
Oh, it's
color on. I'm
the.
just saying this is yeah, this is the sours one. The color on this is really pretty too. It's a nice dark
It
amber.
is.
It's almost like
Yeah.
a rusted terracotta amber.
Yeah, get behind that. Mm.
I like.
So you
So
got
I
your
will
ice
say
pour right here.
I'm doing it right now. I'm digging the nose on the ice.
Oh, cool. I'm
It's
spin jaying it up.
it's a little like the sweetness is mostly what's there, and that's nice. Like I'm not getting a lot of the other stuff. It's like
Mhm.
butterscotchy, not butterscotch.
Yeah.
Is that what a Werther's is? Butterscotch? No,
No, so there
it's a
are, I believe,
toffee.
Werther's
It's a
butterscotch, but
toffee.
they're toffee. Yeah,
Yeah, so I get more of that like toffee note, and it's more the most predominant
dude. If you can
with a
get me
little bit of oak.
butterscotch on a bourbon note, I'm sold. Like that's instant hub to what for me. I think the biggest note I got butterscotch on was the um, Blanton's straight from the barrel that Caleb sent us back in the day. That was, I think that was that right before you joined, or was
Yeah,
that after?
you brought it that
Okay,
Christmas.
yeah.
I think I like iced the best.
This is good.
Yeah. It gets so what's the
This
mash
is very
close to
good.
mashup list goes wheat? No. Corn, wheat, rye,
Rye or
barley.
multi barley. Yeah.
I get a little bit of
No
the
rye.
rye notes are coming out a little bit on the back end of this.
Uh-huh.
I think it kind of tamed the oakiness a little bit with the ice. I'm not
Uh-huh.
getting that as much. But there's just that nice toffee sweetness with the ice.
Yeah.
And it kind of made it colder.
Weird. Me too.
Oh, that's odd.
I have found in sipping this that there is a bite slash slight bitterness, but it takes a while. Like it takes like 30 seconds to get to that. So it's a really long finish and it's a pleasant finish, but then eventually it gets a little gritty on the bite side. I can't exactly call it bitter. Here's the thing is that like some whiskeys have a bite, and I don't mean that as like alcohol percentage. I just kind of mean like it's like I don't know. I can't even explain it, but people know what I'm talking about.
You just did a literal bite. Like
Yeah.
some whiskeys might come up and bite you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I will say one cool thing about this, even with the ice.
It's worth trying with ice. Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
for
Sorry.
sure. With the ice,
Chocolatey a little bit.
Gosh, is this what you feel like when getting interrupted all the time by me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's a good feeling. I will say interesting, like even with the ice, that kind of like cask strength is still there. Like it's not like it doesn't feel like I'm drinking something watered down, right? I feel like with the ice, I'm like, this is you tell me it's cask. I'm like, yeah, it is. Like, so it's not really killing that at all. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hopefully save some for another week and give it an even better review, hopefully. But so far, I like it. You know, with a clogged nose and a half clogged nose and a weird tongue.
Oh wait,
right,
was that
people.
a suggestion of a pairing? That's the
Half
worst
clogged nose.
pairing. If you want to drink this, drink it with a half clogged nose and a weird tongue.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can do that.
That's oh shoot! I just let the cat out of the bag. That was our what whiskey would you choose this week?
Oh, yeah.
What whiskey would you
with a
drink with half clog nose?
Mhm.
Yep.
I think unless you have one, I have a pretty good one this week.
I think I got one.
Oh, okay, even better than mine.
I don't know. Let's say them on the count of 3. Ready?
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
2, 3, 8. What kind of count was that?
Wait,
1,
what
2,
did I
3.
do?
We're gonna count to 3.
1,
Count to 3.
2.
That's a
3.
good count.
What is
8.9.
the thing that you want to? Oh, that's your score.
Gosh, dang.
That's pretty close to mine.
Okay.
I was gonna say just 9, straight 9.
That is close.
I think this is actually maybe not Hubba to What, but Hubba to What for Maker's Mark. I think it is a really good pour. If you disregard the
that's like a Hercules.
disregard the price,
was Hercules that special?
This is great.
No,
this is great.
He was not that special, but Grandma thought he was. Hercules. That's a Hercules Hubba to What.
Tyler Perry?
No, that's Eddie Murphy.
Oh,
Norbert. No, not Norbert.
Never saw that.
What is that movie with Eddie Murphy in the fat suit? In the fat suit.
Norbert. Or no, you're talking about
Oh,
Norbert, yeah. Or was that the one where he played a woman?
Professor Clump? No, it's the one. Norbert's the one who's
the Nutty Professor.
The Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
That's true. Women do shop. Yeah. So, like you're saying, this is a Hubba to What for Maker's Mark, which means Maker's Mark ain't that special. But if this was your child, you'd be like, "This is special."
Yeah.
Just like Hercules, right?
It all comes together.
It
Eddie
does.
Murphy brings it home. So you know that Eddie Murphy had a singing career. I didn't know this until recently. So
my girl likes to party on the night.
So I recently found that song and started singing it with my daughter, and she loves it because I'll sing, "My girl likes to pizza all the time, pizza all the time, pizza all the time."
Does she really love
and
pizza?
She sings it back to me. So
does she love pizza?
She does, and she loves the pizza all the time.
So it's not just a clever cover. It's just pizza
perfect.
all the time.
It's just pizza all the time.
So have you ever played a game called Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza?
I've heard of it, never played it.
So we play it, and our new thing now whenever we have pizza. So we're playing it, and Juniper won after on a pizza card, and she's
nice.
like, so it's summertime, so she's just hanging out in her underwear, jumps up on the table, and she goes, "Pizza, pizza."
That sounds amazing.
Pizza, 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 pizza.
That's one of those times where you like film it, on your phone, and then never show anyone until like the day she gets married, and you don't show everyone, you just show her, and you'll be like, just keep in mind I could show this to anyone at any time or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So now when we do pizza, it's the pizza dance. But she also added in, and then when we started laughing, she was like, "Now smell my feet, smell my feet, smell my feet." So
that's a good parenting moment right there.
It is. Oh my gosh! Today
she obviously got that from somewhere, and I don't think it was from Chelsea.
It's not. No, my mom and I were talking. Like she's got the dead low weirdness to her.
Yeah. Good for Judy.
Today during her soccer game, the ball just goes right past her, and she's watching a bunch of geese up in the air. It was the cutest thing. And like she got tired of running.
Do the same thing.
No, Finley.
Yeah,
Finley is into the game.
Yeah,
she's not aggressive with the game, but she's like running all over the field.
I thought I connected more with Finley when last time I saw you guys, but I think Judy's kind of my girl.
Junie is the entertainment. Finley's pretty funny too, but Junie is just like, and then like the coach is like, "Hey, Junie, getting on defense," and she's like, "Isn't it time to get a water break and rotate?"
That's great. So also just a shout out. It's surprising you're not a Patreon member anymore, but your daughters are beautiful.
They are gorgeous girls.
So you're a very lucky man. And each one of Finley is so different than Judy, and both of them are so different than Amara.
Yeah.
But they are just gorgeous. You got little beautiful girls.
Hey, you can't smell, but going back to while you were talking, went back to it. Like the toffee on this is ridiculous now.
Yeah.
On the ice, it is.
No, I can smell, but just
so good.
Maybe 50%. I can get behind the toffee. Now that we've given our ratings, I think I think this is a good episode so far. I kind of like the
I'm
jive
having-
we got
We're
going.
having fun.
Yeah, we're having fun. We're not faking the fun.
I don't care if you don't like the episode, listener. I'm having fun with Cole.
Maybe
but I
move
assume
on.
you probably are having fun with us.
Yeah, exactly. So
let's keep
in
talking about
saying
the
that-
fun. No, it's fun
Yeah.
time.
Oh, it's fun time. Okay.
Fine.
What else you want to talk about
No.
fun wise?
Pizza, 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 pizza.
My girl likes to pizza,
Pizza
all the time. Pizza all the time. Pizza all the time.
Now
Anyway.
we should move on. Now
Yeah,
it feels,
let's move on to
now
our
it feels
next segment of
natural.
the
I felt like
show.
we were forcing it, but now it's natural.
No, everyone knows now, and people are just gonna be like, "This is why I love these guys," and for that reason, we're gonna move it on to our next segment of the show that we like to call Whiskey World News.
And we're back. Part of the show where we read an article, didn't write it, gonna read it. Here it goes. This one comes from The Whiskey Raiders, written by David Morrow. In a new
Ooh.
Whiskey Raiders YouTube video, check him out on YouTube, I guess. Chief Spirits critic Jay West, hey, that was the guy who was in my fraternity. He was my eminent commander, Sigma Nu, my freshman year. Curates a list of the 5
It all
best
comes full
whiskeys,
circle.
plus a 6th bonus pick that are a bonus pick. That's like anti-clickbait. They could, if they would have said 6 best whiskeys, I'd have clicked that for sure. But now,
Mhm.
after I clicked it, they're testing my loyalty and wanting to click, and I get a bonus.
Wow, that's 7,
They're-
everyone.
that are relatively easy to track down and totally undiscussed.
Okay.
What the heck? Where'd the article go?
Oh, rough.
You
I
gotta
can
click
tell
the-
you my top 6.
You got to click the read more. Each of these whiskeys is readily
Uh.
available, not outrageously expensive, and a must-have on the bar of any whiskey enthusiast. Here's the video. Not gonna click the video.
Not gonna.
Number 5, Penelope Architect Bourbon.
Ooh, we
Number
got 2
4.
of those on the shelf.
Number
Or
4,
on the
Ben
on deck
Holiday.
shelf.
Number 4, Ben Holiday 6-year bottled and bond.
Heard good things.
Number 3, Starward Single Barrel Australian whiskey.
Also heard good things, and we're
Number-
reaching out to them as we speak.
And we're just waiting for them to touch us. Number 2, K. Luke Small Batch 100 Proof Bourbon.
Never heard of them.
Cole knows nothing. You know nothing. You get nothing. What's that from?
Red Snapper, very
Very
tasty.
nice.
So
Red
we've
Snapper.
you have the choice. What's in the box? Or Red Snapper or what's in the box? People are gonna hate me.
Nothing.
Nothing.
You get nothing. That guy just won.
Bad.
That was Data from. No, it wasn't Data. Was that Data? The guy that played
That
that
was
guy
Cooney. Are you talking about from UHF? It was his name was
Yeah.
Cooney in UHF.
But was that the guy that played Data on the Goonies and then just recently won? an
No,
Oscar?
no, not
Different
the same
guy?
guy. Very
Okay.
different guy. Because that
Okay.
would have been the same age.
Yeah.
Because that was like 89, and Goonies came out in the 80s as well.
As I'm saying it, I see him saying it.
Totally.
Was that the guy that was
So stupid.
what's happening, hot stuff from Pretty in Pink?
I'm gonna find out
Okay.
from UHF.
Number 1, Still Austin Cast Strength Rye Whiskey. Ever heard of that?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't
And
heard
then
of
the
rye, but I've heard of still-
bonus pick. The bonus pick. Barrel Bourbon Batch 035. Now, of
Wait,
these,
say that again.
Barrel Bourbon Batch 35. Barrel
Okay.
Bourbon? You ever heard of Barrel Bourbon?
I've
Bourbon
heard of them.
Bourbon.
We've
So
done
I
an
gotta
episode
say,
or two.
this list, I tell you, this list threw me for a loop. I don't
if
really
that's
know much.
easy to find.
That's my thing. I've never heard of half of them.
Yeah.
And that guy, David Morrow, I guess I got to watch it. That's the clickbait right there.
Yeah.
Now you feel like you got to watch the YouTube video to understand what's going on in the head of this madman. Any thoughts on that, Cole?
Yeah, first of all, that what's his name? Crap. Now I gotta go back. His name is Getty Watanabe. He was
What
a
else was he
Japanese
in?
American actor. He played Cooney on UHF. He was not in what was the Pretty in Pink? He was not in Pretty in Pink, but he was in 16 Candles.
Maybe that's what I'm
Another
thinking.
John
Yes.
Hughes. Or
Not
joint.
the John Hughes, but John Hughes.
yeah. Not the
That's
John
what I'm thinking of.
Voldemort Hughes. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I don't know. I've never ever I feel like this is a really bad article because basically he's saying, "Hey, you should be able to find these on your shelf." And I don't think any of them I've seen on my shelf. So,
Yeah.
shame on you. What was it was Whiskey Raiders?
Whiskey Raiders,
Yeah.
David
I mean,
Morrow.
here's my go-tos when you can find them on the shelf.
Okay,
It's
hold
like-
up. Stop. Let's do
Okay.
this. Let's go to your
Okay.
go-tos.
Make it a
Let's use this as a what whiskey would you choose?
Okay, cool.
Okay, so let's transition to what whiskey would you choose. Everybody's on the edge of their seat. We sold them the whole seat.
Yeah.
They're only needing the edge because we're going to talk
Yeah.
about what whiskey would you choose, and then we're going to go back to Cole's thoughts. So last week we asked, what whiskey-related account do you think more people should follow? And killing
I
it
lost. But
was the
mostly
Bourbon
because the
versus-
Bourbon Van also
They said-
referenced the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, Bourbon Van followers, mount up.
Mhm. And they killed it.
Yeah, so
So
89%
what was it, like
to 11%.
95%?
They did.
What was
And I was
it?
looking at 89% to 11%.
Nice.
Not a lot of write-ins. We got a couple here though. From Bourbon of the Week, they said
Bourbon of the week.
Bourbon of the Week.
Hey, thanks for hitting us up, Bourbon of the week.
Game respects game. There you go. All right, Fish and Sips said
Fish and Sips.
Fish and Sips.
Yeah. We love you, Sean.
Embellish Pod said at
Little Bourbon Girl.
Little Bourbon Girl. Yep.
So Robbie, let's take a pause here. Did you look up Little Bourbon Girl?
I have not looked. I've been not.
So shame on you, Robbie, because if you look up Little Bourbon Girl, there is one post from Little Bourbon and one story at the moment that it was posted. And I would like you to look up that right now, Robbie, Little Bourbon Girl, and tell me what you think.
Okay, well, let me finish the list here real quick.
Okay.
Steven Slott's First Fill Whiskey, and Marco and AZ at Bourbon Charity, and the Chill Filter Podcast, who I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah.
And
At the Bourbon Charity, if you know what I'm saying.
And you know what though? You don't have to grow up to do it. You have to grow down. We're not grown
Yeah,
up.
that's what Robbie did.
Little Bourbon Girl. All right, looking at Little Bourbon.
So it's so great because literally John Hughes.
No, don't.
Yeah. Just look him
Did he
up.
make- did he make this account?
LIL Bourbon Girl, and you will not regret it.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna post that now. I didn't look. Oh man, John.
Yeah, you
Hughes.
really should. You should
yeah,
just
don't give
say,
it away.
Hey, thanks, Robbie thanks, John, for the huge or for the great shout out to Little Bourbon Girl.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
So,
we're gonna. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll post
well
that for sure.
done.
Listeners.
Everyone.
Oh my gosh, that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I
All
reached
right.
out to people behind the account, and I was like, I'm proud of you. This is great. So
Did they talk back?
they did talk back, and they were
Okay.
great.
That's
So
awesome.
All
All right, so this week,
Yep.
what is readily available?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
What can you
priced?
find at almost any liquor store? Like most liquor stores that you would just buy if you like one of the best options you can find at almost any liquor store.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you know what you got?
I do.
Okay.
And it's very on brand for the episode.
Mm-hmm.
I normally, this is not my answer, but normally I would say Four Roses Small Batch Select. I think that is a great option, but I see that in Virginia everywhere, but I don't know about everywhere else. Maybe other places have a hard time getting Four Roses Small Batch Select.
Recently.
Okay, cool. But elsewise, my true answer is Maker's Mark Cask Strength. I think it is a great option.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I've said this a lot. I haven't said it in a while. I'm gonna
Okay.
just go rare breed. Wild turkey rare
Nice.
breed. Friggin' amazing.
Most places.
Good juice.
Even in Virginia.
Moderately priced.
Yeah.
Delicious. There
Yeah.
we go.
Nice.
All right, man.
Cask Strength bourbons.
Do we know what we're drinking
So,
next week?
Next
We know what we're
week-
drinking in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we know we're drinking in 2 weeks, but next week, I'm okay. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to courier you a package today.
Can't wait to see your package.
Yeah. Oh, you'll see it. All right.
I don't like the way you
but
said
it's
that.
so I got 2 bottles recently that are pretty cool. One is the pick from Oak and Thieves, the podcast shop, and that's the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye pick that they did. And
Nice.
but the other one, I got something this week that was pretty cool, and it was a committee release from Ardbeg, and it was Heavy Vapors. it's
Nice.
called.
Okay. Woo.
And
Put them head to head.
so, Yeah, let's put them head to head this week. Heavy
Either
Vapors
way.
versus
Jack
Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye.
Perfect. I love it, man. Well, I hope
Yeah.
the courier gets his little tush over there. Is not his little
I hope
tush.
the courier, you can give the pinch to the courier's little tush, but by big little tush, I mean nicely rounded and nicely
He puts the
chiseled
Maximus
tush.
in gluteus
In
Maximus.
gluteus, that's for sure. I hope, Robbie, that we have more weeks like this week where it's just fun and we're just having fun.
You know
And
what?
not
It
even
felt
just on
good.
the episode. We're literally getting whiskey sent to us. And I mean, at this point, like we have probably closer to
much
2
whiskey.
years worth of episodes just based on the samples that have been sent to us.
Yeah.
But we always love it. And
It's not a bad problem.
Not a bad problem to have. So
You
what
know,
else
Cole,
do you
and
hope, Robbie?
I hope that you're starting to feel better and that tonight you can have pizza all the time. Pizza, 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 pizza.
Pizza all the
The
time.
most of all, listeners, I hope our love of whiskey. The anuses have touched people.
Yeah.